Hello, everyone. A very warm good afternoon to all of you. My name is Dr. Gauri Kulkarni. I head the medical operations at Medibuddy, and today we are here to talk about and celebrate World Senior Citizens Day. I think this day is very important for all of us to reflect back and see what the seniors in our community have been able to do for us and what it is that we can do to ensure that they have a wonderful and a fruitful life here on. With that in mind, today we'll be talking a lot about health perspectives of the senior citizens and in the community and what it is that we can do for them and what it is that they can do to ensure healthy and active aging. It is important for us to also remember that seniors in the society have been those who have experienced different timelines and different things in this world. We have people who have been, who have seen pre-independence era to an era where there was economic growth, agricultural growth, economic growth, a boom of, IT and technology. So the seniors in the community have seen a lot of things changing. And with that, they come with a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and experience that they can provide to us, which can be fulfilling for us as well in our growth and learning processes. So it's important that we give them due respect and due credit for the different and multiple roles that they have played in our lives. And it is important for us to highlight their contributions within the community. Now, as the seniors, as we grow old, it is important to emphasize on the health aspects of the senior citizens. Today, we don't need to be ageist anymore. We have individuals in their 60s and 70s and 80s who are actively aging and who are doing great for themselves in terms of their health. We have senior citizens who understand and value importance of healthy living and well-being, and not just from a physical perspective, but also from a social, mental, and emotional perspective, that they understand the importance of healthy living for not only themselves, but their spouses, their partners, their families, and the larger community around. So, if you are someone who is caring for a senior citizen, right? Now, this could be someone who, say, stays with you, maybe your parents or grandparents or in-laws, or it could be somebody who doesn't stay with you, but you are caring for them. Say, maybe they stay in another city or a town or another country, if that's so. In either which way, it is important for us to know what are those very common issues that we see in seniors and what it is that we can do to help them. Now, it is important for us to understand that most seniors have, and we know this, it being an issue of chronic illnesses, that we see the burden of chronic illnesses itself, that we see a lot of seniors who have chronic diseases, and many a times multiple chronic diseases, right? When I say chronic diseases, these are basically illnesses which stay with you for a long period of time. So be it, say, sugar problems or diabetes, be it blood pressure, be it cholesterol or dyslipidemia, be it cardiac illness or heart-related problems, be it thyroid-related problems, or even respiratory issues like COPD or asthma, or even individuals who have been treated and are in remission for cancers, different cancers, but are under treatment, right? Or but are under regular monitoring. So we have to understand that usually as people age, or about the age of 60 and upwards, the tendency of someone to have a chronic disease increases, or they would already be living with a chronic disease, which makes it very important that if you are somebody who is a caregiver or who takes care of a senior individual, you would need to ensure that they are having a good doctor with whom they follow up regularly. Now, it can be your good family physician, it can be, depending on the issue, it can be, say, a cardiologist, or it could be endocrinologist or a diabetologist, or it could be any particular stream where you know that the doctor would be able to help for the problem at hand, right? So the first thing that you need to do for senior citizens is to ensure that they have regular follow-up with a doctor, especially if they are having chronic diseases. Along with follow-up, it is important for monitoring and appropriate or optimal management, which means that if they are someone who needs regular checkups in the form of, say, blood test, or say an investigation of any kind, then it is important that it is done under the guidance of or under the instructions of their treating physician or doctor, right? Along with that, this will help the doctor or the treating physician to be able to give them the right kind of management plan or treatment plan, right? Which is suitable for them considering their age. Why is this important? That we do these regular follow-ups and we do these regular treatments is because it is important for us to understand that in many cases, multiple medications may be given, and there could be a possibility that these medicines need to be given based on conditions. For example, somebody who has already a kidney problem or a liver related problem cannot be given certain types of medicines, right? Or somebody who also has, say, a prostate related problem can be given a certain type of blood pressure medicine if they already have B as well. So condition specific alteration in medication is required, and this can be only done by regular follow-ups, monitoring, and appropriate management plan. So this is the first thing that you can do if you are caring for or living with a senior with you, right? Now, the second most common thing that we see as an issue with seniors is the increased tendency for mobility issues or falls, right? It's a big problem. Now, why does this problem come? There could be multiple reasons. One could be that because there is a chronic disease in itself, say suppose somebody has diabetes, then their ability to feel at the bottom of their feet is reduced, and hence they have their ability to walk correctly or have sensations under their feet is reduced, and this can be a reason for them to have a risk of falling. Another reason could be that you have wear and tear of your joints, right? Very common. Seniors talk about pain in the knee, difficulty in walking. Now, this can be a very common reason that they will have an unsteady gait or they're unstable, and hence there is a possibility that they may have a fall, right? There can be multiple reasons that there are issues with risk of fall. And if you are caring for a senior at home, or you live with somebody who is senior at home, it is important that you find out what are the issues and what are the risks for fall. It is important that a proper assessment is done with the help of the treating physician or somebody who can see at home what are the proper aids that are available for a senior at home. For example, if there is problem with knee, it might sometimes help to have an assisted walking, which means either a stick or the use of a Zimmer frame or something that will help them to aid in walking and reduce the risk of falls. Also giving aids in the form of, say, something to hold on to when they are walking to the bathroom or in the bathroom facility, or ensuring that there are no loose rugs lying around, or too many furnitures at home which will make it difficult for the senior to maneuver around, right? So these are some of the things that we can do if we are living with a senior, to prevent the risk of fall. It's also important that as one ages, the bone density and in general, because of frailty, there is an increased risk of falling. And we usually recommend that seniors, we look at the bone density as well, right? Which is a DEXA scan that can be done to see if the bone is very porous or the bone is very weak. And if required, certain medicines or certain treatments can be done to help prevent the loss of bone mass, right? So that can be something that is important if you are looking or taking care of a senior at home. So ensure that we reduce the risk of falls, because that itself is a single most issue that can cause or that can affect the quality of life of a senior citizen at home. All right. Next, and a very common thing that we see is a term called as polypharmacy, which means too many medications, right? A lot of times, senior citizens have multiple issues, right? They may have diabetes, they may have blood pressure, they may have cholesterol problem, heart disease, they may have multiple other things as well, vitamin deficiencies and so on. And they may be on multiple medicines. And many a times what we have seen is that they go to multiple different doctors for different issues. Say I have a diabetes, I go to a diabetes specialist. I also have some nerve problem because of diabetes, so I go to a neurologist. I also have some mild kidney issues, so I go to the kidney specialist or a nephrologist. I also go to my eye doctor because I need to get a cataract surgery done with the ophthalmologist. So I may be going as a senior, the senior citizen might be going to multiple doctors for different issues, right? And many a times what happens, it is very difficult for them to have in one place everything written, and they may have multiple prescriptions from different doctors, which may or may not have similar drugs also written in it. And this may end up in them actually overdosing themselves with certain types of medicine if the doctors do not know what the other doctor has prescribed, right? It's very important. So one of the things that you can do as someone living with a senior or someone taking care of a senior is you can ensure that a proper drug list is made for the senior citizen, so that if they are visiting any doctor, those medicines are written correctly, and every doctor they visit, the doctor knows what exactly the senior citizen is taking. That way, there will be no duplication of medications, number one. Number two, everybody will be on the same page, right? Also, what you can do is many times there is increased because there is a problem with memory loss or forgetfulness. Sometimes it works to have something called as a pill dispenser or a box where properly medicines are kept, so that the senior citizen knows what medicine has to be taken at what time. Many times they may forget, or many times they may not know if they have taken or not and take a double dose, right? All of these things can actually be, which can negatively affect the senior citizen, right? And it's important, that's why that the pills or the medications that they take are something that is easily available. One of the simple instructions I tell people who are on chronic medicines is to have a list of medicines written, and they can maybe laminate it or keep it in their purse or in their bag, so that that is something that easily they can remove and show it to any doctor that they are visiting. That way it helps them and the doctor as well to do the right treatment, right? So that is about what we call as polypharmacy. Now, another big issue that we see with seniors is the problem of incontinence. Incontinence means the issue with inability to hold urine or pass urine in a good flow or in a proper manner. So this is a problem which we see both in both genders, in men and women as well alike. where there is a problem of incontinence. Now, this in women is very common, which we call as, say, stress incontinence. Women who have had multiple childbirths, vaginal deliveries, they may have a weak uh, muscles of the pelvic area, which means at their private area, the muscles around that, they may be weak, and that can be a reason for them to have incontinence. In men, it's also quite common because of the enlargement of prostate gland in men, which is a common thing that happens. There could be a problem with the stream or the flow of urine, and both this, in general, incontinence can affect the quality of life, because many a times there could be, sleep is broken sometimes, because they may not be able to hold the urine. They may wet themselves, and that can be quite upsetting for them at a mental health level. So incontinence is quite a big problem from a quality of life perspective. And if you see that something like this is happening with a senior who lives with you or you're caring for, it's important that you seek help for this from a medical professional. Few things that can be done is, we can train them to do what is called as Kegels exercises, which are basically exercises of the pelvic floor to contract and relax it, to kind of make the pelvic floor more stronger. But if this is something that is very serious, as in they're not able to hold the urine at all, the last option is, of course, surgery. But we usually tell, if the seniors can, sometimes use a pad or an adult diaper that will hold their urine, especially in social situations where it might get difficult for them, and sometimes even they may feel embarrassing, as in where they have had an incontinence, right? So that is something that can be done, but this is to be remembered, because many a times incontinence is not very easily spoken about by the seniors, right? They tend to not talk about it, but it is quite a bit of a problem, and we need to address it if they are having it. Okay. Next big issue that we see with the seniors is at where there is memory loss or forgetfulness, right? And this is also quite common, where we don't talk about it much, but because many a times this may not be something that they come up with on themselves. You as a carer may find it out that, oh, it seems that, say, my mother is forgetting a particular thing, or my grandfather seems to be forgetting about a certain thing, which we have spoken about, right? So over a period of time, you may want to think and get them evaluated. There are certain tests or mental health tests which can be done to evaluate if there is actual memory loss. And if so, if it is diagnosed early, then there are actually medications available which can help in kind of restricting or in reducing the speed with which memory loss is happening, right? So that can be retarded. The speed can be retarded. So of the change in memory loss, that most probably very commonly is the Alzheimer's disease or any kind of dementia, which is the reason for forgetfulness. But then there are many reversible causes of forgetfulness as well. As simple as somebody who might be having thyroid problem, right? Thyroid problem is very commonly associated with, forgetfulness or memory problems. And it's important that this is checked. Many vitamin deficiencies, such as vitamin B12, again, very common in seniors, can also lead to memory problems. So get it checked. It can be a simple thing that can be reversed, and we can have a better quality of life in individuals who have reversible form of memory problem. Another thing which is not talked about much is, of course, depression. And senior citizens, depression and loneliness is a huge problem in itself. We are all growing old. Our population, we see that the lifespan is very, very good these days. A couple of decades back, our lifespan was not as much, but now people live long. People live, above their 70s. People live up to even 100 years. But this can lead to a lot of people having issues with loneliness, with social isolation, and that can be a real challenge if you are a carer for a senior. So it's important that you have to help them and work with them to understand if they are showing symptoms of depression and then seek help for them. A lot of time they require, social engagements, or talking to people who are alive to them. So getting them into social interaction with senior citizen groups or getting them involved in activities, if they're active, involved in activities which could be altruistic, which could help them to uh, kind of find a purpose about themselves, that can help them to feel better and combat the loneliness. Many a times there could be bereavement. It is some a couple who has lived together for a long period of time, and then unfortunately one passes away, and the partner who's alive has tends to have a sense of meaninglessness in life, and that is where we need to support them, understand them, and give them the right direction for helping them to combat depression and loneliness. Right? So that is another problem that we see very commonly with senior citizens. So if you are someone who is living with a senior citizen, either at home or who you care for, I think these are the few things you must remember. A, if they have chronic diseases or otherwise as well, do regular follow-ups, regular monitoring, and a proper appropriate management plan for any chronic disease that they may have. Second, assess for risk of falls, right? Figure out if they have issues which may lead them or increase their risk of falls, get it looked at, treated if necessary, and look at the environment in which the senior citizen lives to make the risk of falls, to reduce the risk of falls in their environment. Third is to look at the pill count, ensuring that you have pill reminders for them, ensure that you create a pill box which is easy for them, create kind of a note which helps them to know what medicines they are on, which can be given to any doctor who they are visiting, and avoid what we call as polypharmacy. Fourth is to ensure that we take care of incontinence and look at it because it can affect the quality of life in many, many ways. And last but not the least, look at depression and loneliness as an issue because that can be really affecting quality of life and even bring down the lifespan as well. When the zeal for living goes down, it affects the lifespan of the senior, and we would want them to live long and happy. So these are the 4 or 5 things that you need to remember if you're living with a senior citizen. Now, if you are a senior citizen, right? If you are somebody who is living on your own, actively aging and having taking control of your life, if I can say that. First, I need to congratulate you because that is fantastic that you have been able to take care of yourself as you grow old and empowering yourself for the same, right? So that's very, very important, right? I think the most important thing that I keep telling all, I see a lot of senior citizens, both at clinic as well as in home visits. And I say that the most important thing is that they are gracefully aging, right? Every wrinkle that they have, every gray hair that they have, it is there to tell a story, right? And their wisdom and experience enriches us as well when we talk to them. And it's a privilege, right? It's a privilege. But what are those few things that you must do as a senior citizen? I think the first and foremost thing is have a social life around yourself, right? Create strong social bonds. I think that's very, very important. You would have a wealth of experience around you which you can share. Now that if you are, if you have a community that you can join, there are a lot of these communities which are available now where you can join in, be it in person or virtually. It helps you to create bonds. It helps you to reach out to people who are like-minded like you, and it also helps in creating moments that nurture your sense of belonging. So if you are a senior citizen, ensure that you create a social network around yourself or social life around yourself for having a better quality of life. Second most important thing is to ensure that you are active, you're physically active, right? I always say age is just a number. I have many, many examples where I have senior citizens who are very active. They cycle, they swim, they live a very vibrant and fulfilling life. So, in whatever way possible, embrace a sense of routine or a physical, where you would be able to do physical activity. If you are somebody in your 40s and 50s and you're moving towards, the sixth and the seventh decade, it's important that you start this early as well, right? Strengthen your bones, strengthen your muscles, because in the long run, we know that the body ages, right? So by strengthening yourself, it only helps you as old age comes in, that you are able to retard uh, the inevitable process of breakdown of muscle, breakdown of bone, right? That is going to happen. But I think it's important that you instill and have a sense of commitment towards your body by trying to do as much exercise. I know a lot of senior citizens who do as much they can. For example, it could be chair yoga, right? Doing yoga sitting, or doing strength training sitting, right? If you're able to do more, you could do joint strengthening exercises, be it your knee joint or shoulder or ankle or hip, right? This helps you in the long run to be able to have a better or better aging, right? The next thing that I keep saying is keeping yourself relevant, because the environment is changing, right? It's great to see seniors who embrace technology so well. They learn their phones and have their laptops, and I always encourage lifelong learning, right? And I am blessed to have seniors around me who also understand that, and they keep adapting to changes around them, right? It can be extremely empowering and engaging for them, but it also opens up a large universe for them, right? Many a times, because now there is no more geographical boundaries around them, and they're able to keep themselves relevant, keep themselves informed, and that itself helps them in their mental health and keeps them aware of what's happening around them. So I think it's important that as a senior citizen, you keep yourself relevant, right? Keep yourself updated with the ever-changing environment. It takes you a long way, right? Uh, Next that I say is always give attention to your mental health, right? If you see at any point in time that you're feeling low, you're feeling discomforted, you're feeling lonely, please seek help. I think it's important that you seek help, because if you seek help, it's only then that you would be able to take care um, of what is it that we can do for your from a mental health perspective, right? So that's the fourth point. The fifth point that I would want to tell is, of course, taking care of your financial security as well. I think it's important that as a senior citizen, I always tell people that as you're moving towards the sixth and seventh decade, it's important that you plan for your retirement, make informed decisions, because then you will be able to make decisions for yourself. You will be able to have control over what you can do, and you will not be dependent on others for the decisions that you would want to make, right? So that way you will be able to go a long way in having a graceful and active and a wonderful uh, aging process, where you are in control of not just your physical health, but your social health, your mental health, and your financial health as well, right? So these are the few things that I feel you need to do if you are a senior, and if you are ensuring that you are taking care of yourself and making the right decisions for yourself. So with that in mind, I would want to bring this talk to a closure. Ensure that if you are a senior, uh, impart the education that you have, impart the experiences and the nuances that you have learned to your future generations, be it your children or your grandchildren or anybody around in the community. And if you are someone who is caring for the seniors, ensure that you are empathetic and helpful towards them, because the kind of experiences and the knowledge that they bring in will only open up your perspectives about life and what it has to offer to you. Until next time, this is Dr. Gauri saying, take care, stay healthy,